there is that time in the life of our nation, such as we are now, when I think we need to speak to each other candidly and very sincerely about how we see the affairs of our country going. And most of what I'm going to do this morning, I believe I feel the weight of responsibility on my shoulders as a political leader in the party, number one, and then secondly, as someone who had the privilege of serving as the Cabinet Minister for Interior and Coordination of National Government, and therefore sat in the apex of the national security infrastructure in the country for about 5 years. We have spoken about these things for a while, but it's now abundantly clear that the President and his government have chosen violence as a weapon for political survival and as a weapon for political engagement. And I'm not going to start where usually people start, with these tired cliches about we condemn in the strongest terms possible, we ask for action. I'm not going to go that direction, because what we are dealing with is abundantly clear to all of us that we have come to a point where certain serious conversations must happen in this country and choices must be made. This is not rocket science. You don't need a degree in geophysics to see what is going on in the country. The tragedy of it all is that now we have been warning everybody, and that's why I'm not going to go into those usual silly niceties of saying we warn, we condemn. We are already in a crisis. We have now begun our final descension into anarchy as a country. Let's not pretend about it. When you look at the scale of the structures, the pain and the losses in Homa Bay, we have begun our descension into chaos. And clearly, the President and his government have chosen that path. Because ask yourself the question, you can go far back to the attacks in Odaya, when Rigathi Gachagua was going to church and he was attacked there by armed people and so on. All the way to incidents that happened 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago, when Leader Mwananchi convoy was stoned in a place called Keumbu in Kisii. Those guys were arrested. They were taken to court on Monday. There wasn't anybody. There was no prosecutor. There wasn't a file. There was nothing. The magistrate released them. They walked away. When the local member of parliament was invited to record a statement by the DCI, he did not as much as stand up. We lost a life there, a gentleman called Mapinduzi. We buried him a while ago, and that story is gone. We are going on. No investigations done, no arrests, nothing. 2 weeks earlier, elected leaders, members of the county assembly in Kisii, were beaten up by thugs in the center of town at 9 a.m. in the morning. When I arrived there with a bunch of lawyers to see these guys in hospital, the police officers were telling me they don't have B3, all manner of these silly excuses you keep hearing all the time. To this day, no one has been arrested or prosecuted about that. The county government there in Kisii is running a militia, terrorizing people at night, going to estates, beating up people and so on, with the acquiescence of the police. Because the police know this. And everywhere in the country, you saw online last week what happened here in Allingham 1 month ago on Thika Road. 9 o'clock in the morning, thugs closed the road and terrorized people. We have begun our final descension into chaos. The question now for us as Kenyans is, how do we approach this and what are we going to do? We are beyond condemning, beyond threatening, beyond asking for action. I think for me, beginning now, and I will consult with my colleagues in the opposition, we are going to have a retreat next week, and all Kenyans of goodwill, let us now engage our thoughts and minds on how are we going to deal with this government. Because this is not ordinary business. What you are seeing here is not ordinary business. There are no arrests. The political difference is not a good enough excuse to inflict the kind of loss and pain that we have seen this weekend.